Yes, hello, and welcome to Hamilton Center. We are so glad to have you as part of our team. Purpose of this video is to review 13 tools of Hamilton Center. They define the structure of how we work and how we best serve our community, our team, and our consumers. So on your badge, you will have the 13 tools. So it looks something like that. And then on the back, you have the mission statement and the vision. And what really makes that a reality is how we as an organization work to truly implement these tools every day so that we are best communicating and collaborating with each other. My name is Art Fuller. I'm the Chief Human Services Officer here at Hamilton Center. And again, we are so glad to have you as part of our team. So this video here is just going to give you a preview of the 13 tools. And then we're really going to talk about how do we implement those? How do we put them to work every day? How do we make them real so that they're not just the ID badge around our neck, or if we carry it in our pocket, or we have a clip on. So the first thing that you'll notice is consumers first. And so when you think about it, it's self-explanatory. Always prioritize the needs of consumers first in your decision-making and how you're thinking about, is what we're doing now, is it best serving our consumers? And the second thing that is very important with that is no negativity. And so when you think about that, it's like a positive attitude, a positive outlook on things can really help things work better, even when you're working through challenging situations. And so that's the importance of no negativity. So you can see here on the list here, and we have the 13 tools and they're listed. But what I'd like to transition to is, this is a little visual I've made to really help kind of bring to life, what do we mean about these 13 tools and why are they important? So as we started again, consumers first. So you can see the consumers are at the center of the work that we're doing. Then when we went to the second part of no negativity, having that positive outlook, when you really look at it, that has an impact on how we serve consumers. Are we in a bad environment? Are we in a good environment? Are we in a positive or negative? We want no negativity. We want to reinforce habits, conversations, themes that are trying to build positive momentum so that we can best help each other serve our consumers. Then when you think about that, there is a blueprint. It's kind of, what are the future vision, the plans, the goals of the organization? How well do you know all of the things that Hamilton Center is working towards in order to best serve consumers? We have many different services. So really do take the time to think about, wow, I didn't know they had this, or how this works together with other services throughout the organization. So to think about our blueprint from year to year, it may change. So it's important to be up to date, listening to the information you're getting from your supervisor or chief within their areas. They're trying to keep you up to date with what's going on at the organization level that is a priority. And then when you look at this outer circle, communication and collaboration is what really makes this work. If you communicate and collaborate, you're going to know the big picture, the blueprint. The blueprint needs to be based on no negativity. We want positive energy, positive words, and then all of that is helping us impact our consumers. So when you look at that visual, and then you go back up here to the first four things, hopefully they create a different connection for you. It's not just the list, but how do these things work together? Going back again to the diagram, looking at the 13 tools, the next section about do your job, or DYJ. So number one, have you taken the time to really read your job description? Do you understand everything that's in it? If you have questions, ask your supervisor. They're there to help you out. That is important for DYJ. if we're on a team thinking about communication and collaboration and the blueprint, no negativity, consumers first, all of that, the center is DYJ. Our goal should be focused on that. The next area is the cube. And so when you think about that, you hear the word, the cube, you know, it's three-dimensional. So any way that you spin around it, if you touch a corner here, it's going to have an impact there. So we have a structure here that it's not just kind of a chain of command. It is the cube. So when you're trying to look with your frontline staff, you could imagine them as the bottom of the cube. And then you have your four sides. You have your directors, you have your executive directors, you have supervisors and managers, you have chiefs, deputy chiefs. So all of them are working together as a team on that cube. Then at the top, of course, you have the president, CEO, board of directors. That cube is what makes our organization work. So when something happens, imagine like you were in the middle of the cube. Who needs to know? Who all do you need to communicate with? You need to communicate throughout the whole cube. But first, you're going to start with your supervisor, making sure they have the accurate information and that they're using that accurate information to help them in their decision making. The next part of that, you can see we have a date here about breaking the mold. Another way to look at it is thinking outside the box. So how are we doing things so that we are putting our consumers first? So we are DYJ doing our job. We're using the organizational structure of the cube, but we're doing it in ways that best serve our consumers. So what is working today, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work tomorrow. And that's all right. That's what breaking the mold is about. But more, I would say, even more important than that is the red wagon. And so it's like when you hear the red wagon, what do you think of? Here's the thing to keep in mind. What the red wagon is about is we are here in support of our consumers. And that direction of how that is happening is directed and led by our president and CEO. So it's important for our supervisors to know what is the vision of the CEO. What is the way that the president and CEO wants it done? What the red wagon is anytime when you're coming to work, you're going to take your stuff out of the wagon. So the way that you like to do things, maybe you like to do it this way, but you're asked to do it that way. Well, guess what? You need to do it that way because that is the red wagon. You're taking your stuff out of the red wagon, and what you're putting in is the vision, the way, the methods, the directives, and the goals of our president and CEO, Mr. Melvin L. Burks. So when you hear the red wagon, think about, that means I'm taking the way I want to do things out, and I'm putting the goals and the visions of the president and CEO in, and that red wagon is there to help us serve consumers. So again, now let's go back to this list of, it's not just the list, it's how does it all work together? So we first went over the first four areas: consumers first, no negativity, the blueprint, communication and collaboration. We talked about the visual. You see how those are working together. They work together as a nice unit. Then you kind of keep going. DYJ, do your job. So Cube, do you really understand the organizational structure and how it works? Breaking the molds. We're always going to be looking to become better. We can't do the same thing over and over again. And red wagon, leave your priorities at the door. Take your stuff out, understand how the president and CEO wants it done, and that's the way it needs to be done. That's what the red wagon is about. And then as we're finishing up with the last set here of corporation, peeling back the layers, don't step over the little things dollar for dollar, and fine tune. These also work together in a nice little package. So when you're thinking about corporation or the word corpus, it's one body. So if you're in a body, every part of that body is important. It's like, you don't notice how important some parts of your body are until they start to ache. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was there. So every part's important. So you may be a finger, you may be the tip of a nose, you may be some of the teeth, but it doesn't matter which part because you need it to work together as one unit. And that's going back to the DYJ. The DYJ helps us understand how we work together as one body, one unit. And then as you're working together as one unit, these are some common phrases that you should hear your supervisors, your chiefs say. Peeling back the layers, and just kind of think about it. Think about it like you have an onion. When you start peeling that, it's like, how many layers does an onion? You don't know. It's like you just keep peeling, the layers keep coming out. When we talk about peeling back the layers, we're talking about digging deep. Are we asking the right questions? And when we get the answer to that question, is there another one that we need to ask to really figure out the solution? Are we going all the way back to the beginning? Are we really understanding how the issue or problem started, and then working from there, peeling back the layers, knowing where it started, and then following it all the way through to the end? This other thing is just, it's really critical. It's like, don't step over the little things. And when you think about it, you're like, well, the little things, they don't really matter that much, but actually they really do. It's so, like, maybe think of it like this. Think about your paycheck. So does it matter if you get paid on your payday or after your payday? That's a little thing, but it can make a big difference, because those little things matter, like dates and times, the words that you use, how you're communicating to others, how you're collaborating. Are you paying attention to things that are impacting others and our consumers? And they may be very small, but they have a very big impact. Are you saying hello to people? When you see someone walk down the hall, or you just walking by and not saying anything. These are little things, but they reflect the culture of the organization. So all of these little things matter, and they lead up to this peeling back the layers in the one body. Then your final two areas, the dollar for dollar and fine tune. So dollar for dollar is like dollar in, dollar out. We are a nonprofit organization, but that doesn't mean that we could just spend money how we like. We need to know, well, how are we using most effectively our dollars? Are we using them in a wise way that we're getting that return on the investment? And then when you're talking about fine tuning, what fine tuning is about is it's focusing on those little things that can be tweaked just a little bit to really make the whole thing shine a lot better. Now that fine tuning, you may have to do fine tuning again and again and again, but each time it's helping you really understand what we're working on, what we're working towards, and together as a team. So that is a quick breakdown of 13 tools. But the thing that I'd like for you to think about is, how do you really apply these different types of things within your job? And so here, I can give you one example. So let's say, and we're talking about with consumers first, and let's say you're interacting with a consumer, and the consumer says something to you that it kind of rubs you the wrong way. You're like, whoa, what? Why did he say that to me? So then when you're looking at the 13 tools, what you're thinking about, okay, so now what is the best course of action that I need to do next that is going to best serve the consumer? So you could get angry. You get angry. Hey, how in the world you say, is that really going to best serve the consumer? Even though maybe that may be your natural inclination, it's not best serving the consumer. Are you going to, well, I'm not sure I really understood what you were saying. What were you meaning? What was your intent? I really want to hear what you're talking about. These simple phrases, the way that we're communicating with each other, they can make a difference on how we process, understand, and react to the situations that are going on around us. It may have been the consumer was just having a bad day. So think about it. They're having a bad day, and we serve our consumers. Is our radar up so that we're paying attention? Hey, maybe this person's having a bad day. Maybe I need to peel back the layers to figure out more of what's going on. So as you're peeling back the layers, that takes time. That takes paying attention to the little things. It may have just be a little thing, And that's how you're learning more about the whole situation. And then you're also saying, well, how does this relate to my job? So our job, the number one, is to best serve consumers. So think about that. No matter what job I have in Hamilton Center, the purpose is to best serve consumers. So how are the actions that I'm taking going to impact the consumers that we're serving? That was just one quick example. But the reason I was talking through that is that there are so many things that go on every day where the 13 tools apply. In team settings, maybe you have different opinions. How can you apply the 13 tools? When you see something that may be incorrect in a document, do you just skip over it and say, oh, well, someone else will get it? Or do you go, oh, wait, hold it. We need to stop. We need to take a look at this. We need to get it right. If you see someone being disrespectful, what do? Is that going to best serve our consumers? How do you handle those different types of situations? These are all things that over time, we want to get everyone just more and more comfortable with understanding what we mean when we say the 13 tools. So again, my name is Art Fuller. I hope you enjoyed this introduction. And the one thing that I would like for you to do is at the end of this video, I just want to ask you one simple question. Of the 13 tools that I covered, you kind of see them here on this list, I want you to tell me or talk about 3 of the tools that really kind of resonate with you. Now, when I say resonate, what I mean is, hey, that kind of aligns with the way that I'm thinking now. I see how that can relate and help me do my job better. Talk about and identify 3 of the 13 tools, and then we can have a greater conversation. But that conversation is first going to start with your writing. So what I'd like for you to do, identify those 3 things, list each of those 3 out of the 13 tools out. And then I want you to write, okay, here's the reason that I picked, for example, consumers first. Here's the reason that I picked the Q and explain why. Here's the reason that I picked Red Wagon and then explain why. This is just to kind of getting you thinking on how you can apply these 13 tools as you're getting started here at Hamilton Center. So please go ahead and start doing that. And I look forward to reading what you write down. And guess what? I really am going to read it. It's like, is he going to really read it? Yes, I am. So you're going to write this document. And then at the end, you're actually going to send an email. Here's my email. It is afuller, AFULLER, at hamiltoncenter.org. Please put the title. We're going to see if you're listening and following the instructions. The title of the email needs to simply say 13 tools, 13 tools, new hire orientation. Please send it. I look forward to getting your response. Again, name is Art Fuller, and glad you're here with Hamilton Center, and really am excited that you're joining our team here today.